Well, this has been a long time coming. For years, I talked about doing this, and for years, I was always coming up with some excuse on why right now is not a good time. I was excusing myself out of a great situation. This past weekend, I ran into an old friend at Yellow Jacket Festival down here in Kennedy, Alabama. And he asked me, was I still with the radio station? No. So and so kind of pushed me out. He lied to me, lied about me, stabbed me in the back, and kind of used me to get to where he was and kind of forced me out. And I was kind of done wrong and forced out, not only there but in other places as well. I'm not going to go into details here of what happened there. I explained to him, and he's like, oh man, that's awful. He understood, and that's bad. Then he asked me, was I doing the podcast I talked about? No, and I really couldn't come up with a good reason on why I wasn't doing it. And he's like, dude, you need to be doing that. You need to be talking sports. You need to be on here talking. People engage with you. They love to hear you talk. They love your opinions. And you love to talk. You need to be doing this. It'll be a big, great hit. That got the little wheel spinning. That lit a fire on me, and I got to thinking about it. And I said, might as well go ahead and jump in and get this thing started. Now, eventually, I do hope to branch out, have guests on here, talk about different topics. Let this grow. But for right now, it's going to be a weekly episode where I discuss something, and let's see where it goes. It could even grow to a podcast format, live streaming, and I could even branch out and be on like a Spotify and other platforms is there. But for right now, this is what it is, and let's see where it grows to. But here is the first episode of Crunk Unfiltered, where the opinions are loud, and if you're offended, I don't care. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about NASCAR. More importantly, Talladega Superspeedway, because NASCAR's at Talladega this weekend. Now, to give you a little backstory here, I used to be a huge, diehard NASCAR fan. I would watch every single race. I would schedule my weekend around the NASCAR schedule. But then they started catering to certain drivers, it seemed, and it seemed like they was trying to have storybook ending to certain drivers, and I'm just going to come out and say it. It seemed like some races was fixed. And that pushed me away, and I stopped watching. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, Colton, started telling me that I need to watch NASCAR. He knew I was once a diehard fan. He goes, you need to watch it again, man. They got some great finishes. There's some close finishes. The racing is great. You need to be watching it. So I would watch a couple of races to satisfy him. Slowly and surely, it was drawing me back in. I started watching. I started paying attention. I started engaging. He went as far as even pushing a driver on me. He says I'm a Josh Berry fan. So I guess I'm a Josh Berry fan, driver of the 21 Wood Brothers car. Back when I was watching NASCAR Die Hard, I was a Mark Martin fan. So who's ever in the 6 car now, I'm always going to have a soft spot for. And right now, that's Brad Keselowski. So I'm a Josh Berry fan, but I want Brad Keselowski to do good as well. But that's not the topic of today's episode. Talladega Tales. Let's get into it. My first experiences at Talladega come from going there for the Saturday event. I have a friend, and at the time he was working at Buffalo Rock, and he would get boatloads of Saturday tickets, just free tickets, a handful of them, and me, him, and some others would pile up and go. And I got to see a handful of NASCAR Busch Series races. You know, it was Busch Series at the time. A bunch of those races. Happy Hour, NASCAR's final practice before the Cup race. ARCA races and an occasional IROC race, and it was awesome. One particular Saturday race, one particular Busch Series race, Kyle Busch was in it. And this woman that was very drunk was not a fan of him at all. Now, at the time, I was not a fan of Kyle Busch. I've warmed up to him now, but at the time I couldn't stand the guy. Well, he got in a wreck, and he was barrel rolling. It was bad. Barrel rolling. It looked frantic. And she was cheering her head off because he was wrecking. Made me a little upset, made me mad, made me angry. I didn't like that. And then, when he climbed out of the car and he was okay, she went to booing. I forget what exactly I said, but I voiced my opinion to her. She turned around and accused me of being a Kyle Busch fan. I'm like, I'm not a Kyle Busch fan, but I don't want the man dead. And back then, I was, skinny, scrawny. I looked like a drug addict. So, I couldn't fight myself out of a wet paper bag, but I was ready to throw down. Even if it was a woman. And, after that exchange was over, she went back to watching the race, as did I. And her driver, I believe she was pulling for Dale Earnhardt Jr. I can't remember, but that seems right. He got in a wreck. Not enough to make him be out of the race, but just enough to ruin his day. And he was constantly having to go down pit road to get repairs done to his car. And every time he went to pit road, she would flip him off. Like I said, this woman was drunk. Eventually, I did get to go to some cup races. My first ever cup race, I was there to witness Dale Jarrett win his final cup race. And that was pretty cool. Dale Jarrett, I wasn't a fan of him, but I didn't dislike the man. And seeing him win his last race was pretty neat. A few years back, later on, I went there for the whole weekend. I was there Saturday and Sunday. And at this time, the truck series was racing there. First time trucks went to Talladega. Mark Martin was also doing part-time in the trucks. So I got to witness my driver race on a Saturday, which was awesome. What was even better is he won the race. Leading a lot of laps, dominated, running up front constantly. Toward the end of the race, I got down to where the edge was so I can cheer him on and feel the cars as they passed, trucks as they passed by, which was awesome. And I encountered another drunk woman. You're going to see a pattern here with drunkenness. Just forewarning you. She found out I was a Mark Martin fan too. And she was, we both was cheering for our driver. And when he crossed the finish line and won, she engulfed me in a hug. Embraced me, both arms tightly squeezed around my neck, my chest. And, she was hugging me like a long lost love. I got a contact drunk from just hugging this woman. One time I was at Talladega, and this is back when they let you take in the big coolers. Someone dumped their cooler, and I got ice, water, and beer poured all over me, and I came home smelling like a drunk, but yeah. Another experience, another race I went to at Talladega was when Brian Vickers won in a very controversial way. It was Dale Earnhardt Jr. first, Jimmy Johnson second, Brian Vickers in third. Brian Vickers at the time was with Hendrick Motorsports. Well, they fall out to pass Junior for the win, and Vickers bumped Johnson, wrecking him into Junior. Both cars are now going down on the apron and wrecking and out of the race, and Vickers goes on for the win. Of course, this irritated the Junior Nation, and all of the fans started throwing beer cans on the track. It was duck or be hit, and I chose a duck. One experience I have, one weekend I was down there, and Talladega Nights was just wrapping up filming. They was getting ready to be done with filming, and I thought they was already done with it. We get there, we get to our seats, and we're looking at the cars all lined up on pit road, and well, there's this one car. It's got a picture of a cougar and me on it, and we're sitting there trying to figure out who that was. And then, we figured it out. I mean, everybody's like, oh, that's Talladega Nights. That's Ricky Bobby. And that's Will Ferrell. When we actually saw Will Ferrell propped up against the car. Like I said, they was filming the final scenes of that race, of that movie. And they was doing driver introductions. Now, if you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. They was naming off. They asked us to cheer when they named these drivers, and they named off Ricky Bobby. Everybody cheers. Kyle Naughton Jr. Everybody cheers. When they said John Gerard, we booed. Now, we was not told to boo. We just naturally decided boo, and it fit the movie perfectly. I mean, we was told not to. We didn't have to be told to boo. We naturally booed him. That was a pretty fun experience. But all these tales you hear about Talladega, the infield and all that, I'm sure they're all crazy. And what gets left behind, after people tailgate, is pretty neat. Tents, couches, etc. One time, I was up there for a race, and the folks I was with, we was going to tailgate after the race. Why was we tailgating after the race? We was letting the traffic die down. We had a grill that was falling apart. We lit it, grilled some hot dogs, and waited for the traffic to die down. So we just sat there and just chilled out, talked about the race, talked about what we're going to be doing later on, etc. And was just waiting for the traffic to die down. Well, I look across the field, and 2 or 3 guys are just running. And they pick up this grill, another grill that they had found, and were just running with it back across the field. Then all of a sudden, they just drop it and just take off. They was trying to steal this grill, and there was a reason it was left behind. It had rusted, it was falling apart, and someone just left it there for the garbage pickup. Now, I can sit here and tell you other stories. I can even tell you about the time I went to Bristol, but they're not at Bristol this weekend. So that could be another story for another time. So there you go. My tales from Talladega. Dega Tales. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you stay tuned for the next one. Crunk Man, signing out.